In a world filled with intergalactic space battles, metahuman destruction on a global scale, and psychopathic serial hauntings, there's only one team who can make sense of it all. When your world is overrun with rampant pop culture, call Loop and Larry, Guardians of Geek.
Oscar explosion!
Celebrities everywhere.
Everywhere. Well, at least there's
Mass
two
mayhem.
of them. There's just two right here. Celebrities of two of us.
Hey, I'm Loop.
And I'm Larry.
And this is our Oscar Spectacular, our 4th annual one, where we just take a look back at the Oscars. We kind of review them and what we thought. And there's just so much there. We got like so much to get through. And we're all dressed up for this, but I keep disappearing, I notice.
I know, look at you. You're like, shoulders there, shoulders not there. Shoulders there.
Look at that. Like I just totally my arms just disappeared completely.
You're just gonna have to you're gonna have to sit very still for the entire show like this, and you'll be fine. I also noticed without consulting each other that we both went with sequence this year.
We did.
I don't know how that happened, but we did.
I don't think this likes the sequence. Like I don't think the camera likes it because it's like as it shimmies and it sort of just disappears here and there. Yeah. But hey, as long as my head's still there, I think I'm good. I did.
You'll look good. You'll look good, so that's okay. That's all that matters.
Oh, what's the Oscars there? I got him.
Excellent. So. Oh, just so every once in a while, I get a drink of water. I thought I'd go fancy this time and put it in a champagne glass. Huh? Yeah.
I just have the glass of Coke. I'm just like,
oh. Well, you can put it in a champagne glass if you want to.
I could. I won't, but I could.
You don't need to because one champagne glass per duo is probably enough. I think.
So Oscars given away last Sunday, and it's like, of course, it's Hollywood's biggest night, and we both saw all of them, right? We saw all
the best pictures. We
both saw all the best pictures.
Yeah, and then a couple others on top of that, just for fun.
Oh, good, excellent. So what we'll start with before the Oscars, you always have to start with the Razzies.
Yes,
because the Razzies are the worst of the year, and it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek awards. And they give them away every year. And so we've got those going on. They were given away on the Friday before the Oscars. And there's a 43rd annual Razzie Awards, which was kind of cool.
Can you believe that? It's the 95th Oscars and 43rd Razzies. Like I didn't realize the Razzies had been around almost as long as we have. Like
I know.
It seems so odd to me. Like they only came into our like reality, I don't know, maybe like 10 or 15 years ago, maybe 20. Like I didn't even know that they existed for the first 20 years. I don't know how that happened. But
yeah, I don't know either. They're kind of funny. Like I mean, I always get a good kick out of them. Sometimes they're kind of dumb. Like they kind of just make up weird awards and stuff to kind of fit whatever they joke they want to do, which is gets kind of old pretty quick. But let's go over to some of those.
I tend to agree with them sometimes. So let's see how close. Let's see how close we get to what they say this year.
All right. Well, let's go through a few of them.
Okay.
Worst picture.
Yep.
Was
Blonde.
Yeah, I've never saw Blonde. Did you see it?
No, and it's such a shame because this is the story of Marilyn Monroe. And I was really excited when it came out. The marketing was really good. The trailers were great. And I like Marilyn Monroe. So I was super excited to watch this movie. I was like, oh, this is going to be fantastic. A new take on it. And everybody I know who saw it, including my whole family, hated it. Everybody said it was bad. Yeah, so I think that they nailed this one because from all reports, this was not so good.
Weird thing was she was up for Best Actress.
Yeah, Anna de Armas. Yes, she was up for Best Actress. So I mean, I guess she could do a good job within a terrible movie. But
I guess
from what I understand is that the movie was not told linearly, so it was sort of flashbacks, and some of it was in color, some of it was in black and white, which is kind of cool. But apparently, it just turned into a colossal mess. Like it was just like too much bouncing around. Nobody knew where they were. It was so I guess that's the downfall of Blonde.
All right. Yeah. So I never saw it. Worst actor is Jared Leto, Morbius.
Yeah, I can say that.
I don't know what film he was in on that. I don't mind Jared Leto on some stuff, but I find he's like sometimes he's into his own like thing. Like he's into his own mythology or something. I don't know. He's just sort of doing stuff that no one else seems to know what he's doing. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know where that whole movie was a bit of a mess for me. Like I think I had it as one of my worst movies of the year when we did our 2022 year in review. Yeah, I just don't know where he was doing. I wasn't sure like what movie he was in and compared to everybody else.
I'm not really sure. He took it way more seriously than I think the rest of the movie did. I think that was the problem. He felt out of place. So yeah, I guess. I mean, now having said that, I don't know if it was the actual worst performance. Like I'm sure that there were other performances out there that were just awful, but I think it was just because it was so misplaced. Maybe that's why they went there.
I think he was so intense in it, and it kind of just like sucked the fun out of like I mean, it's good. It doesn't matter. I mean, it was a dark theme, but I think like he just sort of sucked any fun out of it, like as a character. I guess I don't know. It was hard to say.
That's what I kind of think too. But oh well, I buy it. I buy it.
Okay, so in worst actress, which is a weird one, is the actual nominations blunder that the Razzies did this year, and I can't remember the actress's name. And she was in what movie was that? It was a young actress, and she was like, and they put her up for worst actress, and she's only like 12 or something, or 14.
And I think it was like her first role or something. Like she was brand new, and she's 12, and like that's just pure mean. Like that's just,
it was really mean. So now they have a thing where you have to be 18 or over in order to be nominated.
Yeah.
So because everybody just skewered them like when this nomination came out. And actually, it's good that she's not in the list because I don't want to say her name because it's Firestarter. That was the name of the. that was
that's
the movie.
Right. Yes.
But I mean, she's just a young actress, and apparently, from what I heard, she did a good job. But I don't know, just because the movie was bad. Here's a case of where the movie's maybe not that great, but she kind of got sucked into that vortex.
She took the brunt of it,
which was not fair to her at all. She's just a young kid, so. Yeah, I think maybe the Razzies learned their lesson on that. Like that kind of again sucks away the fun of the Razzies when you're nominating children for Razzies.
Exactly, not fun.
And a couple of the other ones are worst remake ripoff sequel was Disney's Pinocchio.
Yep, I took a hard pass on that one because Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio came out, and that was such a good movie that I didn't even want to bother with the remake. There was no point, and so I skipped it. And I'm gonna say yes, it was not a valid reason to make a movie. That one.
There's one Pinocchio that's an award winner. Now there's two actually. That one in Razzie, and the other one won an Oscar. So you got.
I guess they're both award winners.
Yeah, they're both award winners in some way.
Their own way. Yeah. But can we go back real quick? I want to talk about the worst supporting actor, who went to Tom Hanks for Elvis.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if the critics, because they panned his performance, like universally, Tom Hanks was just like raked over the coals for his performance as Colonel Tom Parker in Elvis because of his accent. But if you watch like actual like YouTube videos of Colonel Tom Parker, the real guy, he had a weird accent because once it took a while, but they finally found out that he was actually Dutch. So he had a bit of a weird Dutch accent. Like he had this accent. Tom Hanks didn't just make this up. He wasn't just saying, "Hey, I want to talk with a funny accent. I don't want to." It's not the way it works.
That was pretty good, actually.
That was not bad.
I just think his performance was that bad because I saw that too. Everybody was just being savage, and I'm like, I thought he was actually not bad.
Yes, I thought it was. I mean, for who he was, and I mean,
it was enjoyable.
Because they were also talking about the makeup and something. Well, that's not his fault.
Yeah.
He didn't apply his own makeup. I just thought that was a huge mistake. I thought for who he was and what he portrayed, I thought he did a great job. You can't have a Best Picture nominee with one of the worst acting jobs in it. Like that doesn't make any sense. It would not qualify as the Best Picture of the year if the supporting actor was garbage.
Yeah, no, I thought he was fine. I don't know why everybody was so like it was a weird character, but I mean, so was he. Like so was the actual real person. So
exactly, yeah. I didn't quite get that. That didn't make any sense to me. So shout out to Tom Hanks for doing the best he could with the weird accent and all the funny makeup he got to wear. He did a good job. There. He's been
There you
redeemed.
go.
Loop and
The
Larry
rest-
redeemed Tom Hanks. Good.
The rest of the Razzies is pretty standard. Like there's a lot of like repeats in that, but those are like kind of the main ones.
Yeah.
And
Morbius seemed to get a couple of shout outs. It got worst supporting actress as well. So I think Morbius was there was really no need for it. Determined.
I like the
Nothing good.
idea of the movie, and it was
Yeah.
there was some parts in it that weren't bad. I just found generally it just I don't know what it wanted to be. Like
I don't either. But I feel like it's the kind of movie that 5 years from now people will rewatch it and be like, you know what, that wasn't bad. That was okay. We can, that was all right.
yeah,
That's
maybe his performance was so good we just don't understand it. Like we
I
just
think
can't
that's exactly
comprehend
what
it right now, but maybe like we'll appreciate it 5 years from now. We don't know.
That's right.
And we'll be like, now I know what he was doing. Now
Yeah.
like,
No,
he was
I don't
setting
think
up for like 4 pictures later. Like he's
Yeah.
just putting those seeds in right now.
That's right. That's right. Exactly what's going to happen.
I
Mark
highly
our
doubt it.
words. Mark
Yeah.
our words.
Just mark them all right.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to the actual Oscar night, unless you have anything else to say about the Razzies.
That was good. I just wanted to redeem Tom Hanks. That's all I wanted to do. The guy's great.
I thought he was
can
fine in it. I don't know why
Yes.
everybody was so down on it.
I don't know. He can do no wrong. It's Tom Hanks. Come on. You can't give him worst anything. I mean, he could kill somebody. It would still be like the best murder of the year. Right.
I didn't want to get into Austin Butler on this either. Like I thought he was good.
Yeah.
I didn't think he's as great as everybody said he was.
Yeah.
Like I maybe it's only because I've seen so many Elvis impersonators and he did. I mean, I don't want to like discount what he did. I just didn't think it was like, it didn't blow me away, his performance in that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I thought his actual, like when he was singing and performing as Elvis was unbelievable. Like if you put, there are side by side.
Yeah. Like he was great. Like he was fine. I
But
just don't
yeah,
think he was like,
the best.
I just didn't think it was an Oscar worthy performance.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
Yeah. We can argue that all day long.
Yeah, and it doesn't really matter because he didn't win anyway, so who cares?
Exactly. People have already forgotten about that movie. The Oscars are done.
Yeah, Oscars are done. We're moving on. But yeah, I don't know. He was like, so if you even out his performance for me and Tom Hanks, I don't know why we're talking so much about Elvis anyways, but
I don't know.
It might be this jacket, maybe. I don't know.
I think it's exactly. It's all the sequence. When you wear sequence, all you can do is talk about Elvis. That's all.
and get violent. And those are the
Exactly.
two things that'll happen when you wear this.
It's part of the conversation. Sequence, Elvis, violence. Done.
There you go. That's all you need. That's all you need.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll go into the Oscars themselves. I mean, we're not going to go like we're not going to go through all the categories because those winners are all out there. But we'll talk about obviously a few of them. But we'll go hits and misses through it. We'll just kind of do a quick review of the Oscars this year and see what we thought. So Larry, we can start with you on this one. See what some of your hits or your misses.
Okay. Well, I can tell you right off the top. So the first 3 categories that were given were Best Animated Feature, Best Supporting Actor, and Best Supporting Actress. And by the end of those 3 categories, I was a blubbering mess.
Yep.
First of all, I love Guillermo del Toro. Everybody kind of knew that his Pinocchio was going to win it, but it was so exciting for me to have him win another Oscar. That was cool. Yeah. And that's how it started. But then the performance by and I can never pronounce it properly. Ki Hui Kwan. Ki Hui.
Yeah. Otherwise known as Short Round.
Exactly. We'll just call him Short
He's
Round.
always gonna be Short Round to me, like no matter what he's
Key.
in. Or...
We just call him Key. How about that? Key.
Yeah, Key. Yeah,
so when he went up, and then Jamie Lee Curtis, and after like decades of doing what they do and following their careers and having them be in such like genre movies, well, I mean, to have them both win, and their speeches, and they were just like beyond like words up on stage, just how excited they were to have finally won these Oscars. Like these are 2 people who like 10 years ago you would never have put a dollar bet on either of them to ever in their lifetime win Oscars.
Maybe Jamie Lee, possibly Jamie Lee, but that would be the only one.
But but I mean, really, I mean, all that she's ever really been in are like horror movies or genre movies,
Comedies or yeah.
comedies, things like A Fish Called Wanda. I mean, nothing really that was like ever Oscar caliber,
Yeah.
So to have them both win back to back, it was just first of all, it was also nostalgic because like we grew up with Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween and all of that, and then Short Round and all of the
Indiana Jones
Indiana
and
Jones and Temple of Doom and Goonies and
yeah.
Encino Man and all of that. It was so cool to finally see these guys win the accolades that they deserve. I just thought that was awesome, and they're like literally, I was like bawling.
Well, same here, and I have a hit that I'm gonna move into this because it fits in. Is like it's the underdog. It's like the Oscar underdog, and it's between Brendan Fraser and them, and like all these people that were counted out or just overlooked because of the types of movies they did, and all of a sudden there they all are in the forefront, winning, and it's like so crazy that they all won, and but it was such a great story to be told that they all won Oscars, and it's like when you look at the best actors and actresses and together, when they're all together in a photo, you're like, that's the craziest group of people I would ever think, like.
It's true. Like you're right. And throwing Brendan Fraser in there again, Encino Man, like, and the Mummy,
and Michelle Yeoh too. Like she's done a lot of TV work. She's obviously been a star before she even came to America, but to be recognized in as a like an actress of her quality, which she always has been, was amazing. I love that she won. And I mean, some of that we probably were pretty sure she would win based on all of the awards. But I don't think she'll ever have a year like that again. Like that was crazy.
So. And I mean, I don't know if Jamie Lee Curtis and Key will have, and Brendan Fraser will have years like this again. Like, I mean, it's so hard and so rare for actors to win these things. Obviously, I mean, I feel like this is sort of once in a lifetime opportunity for all three of those guys. I mean, I could see Michelle Yeoh winning potentially again because she does more dramatic. Like she was in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and she does sort of more dramatic roles, and those are the ones that tend to win. But I mean, but the other nice thing is that this is like you said, it's revamped their career. Like we're going to see much more of Jamie Lee Curtis now, and Key, and Brendan Fraser, which is awesome. I think it's so cool. Speaking of which, I don't know if you saw this or not, but just the other day, from the point where we're recording this, they released the trailer for a Disney Plus show, and I believe it is called American Chinese Born. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, and I haven't seen the trailer, but all of them are in it, right? Like the same people.
Yeah, it's Michelle Yeoh and Key, and they're both in it together. Like, I mean, they sort of, but it's a series, like it's a TV show, and it's going to be on Disney Plus coming up very soon. But that's so exciting, like that they, that they're back in the spotlight and they're doing this stuff. I think it's so exciting and so great. That was a huge win for me.
And it's so that, and the like obviously the underdog stories of the Oscars. I'm gonna go back for a hit for a second, and it's the Jimmy Kimmel. I thought was like starting the Oscars, and I like this. I'll mix this into the opening sequence too, because I mean he didn't really do a lot in the opening sequence, but I thought like the Oscars started off really well. Like I love the behind the scenes opening sequence of showing how they made these these movies, just little clips. And then him like, parachuting in, like, but I thought he did a great, like, I've said this last year too. The hosting that gig would be one of the hardest things to host because everybody picks apart everything you do. And I thought he was on point for like, not too scathing to the celebrities, but held back enough. I mean, he did skewer a few people here and there, like Will Smith and that, but I mean, that was coming. You knew they were going to get him. But I thought he was good.
There was no way Will Smith was getting off scot-free this year.
No. And there was things that like it would happen and he'd come out and make a little comment about it or whatever. Like it was just, I thought he was really funny and charming in it, to be honest. And I think he carried it like through the whole thing. And that's all you really needed.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and that's, I mean, after several years of having no host, which just made the show drag and it was just, it's disjointed. Having him back as host regularly, I think would be great. It's like the years that Billy Crystal did it, Remember,
Yeah.
Billy Crystal did it for years in a row, and it was great. He was part of the show. Like, you expected his comedy, and I would be very happy to have Jimmy Kimmel host this thing for years to come. I just think he's calm and collected and funny, and but not too controversial.
Yeah, he kept it pretty good. Like he
Yeah.
made fun of some stuff that happened, but still kept it like, it wasn't too much, which
Yeah.
I enjoyed. So
Yeah, I agree. I thought that was really good. What else you've got? So I've got a couple of nitpicky things, like disagreements that I have with a couple of the categories. Do you want to go there
Okay.
first, or do you have something else?
let me do one more that I think
Okay.
it's like, it's kind of an overall.
Okay.
I thought this was a great Oscars, like
Yes.
just overall. And what I liked about it, and this was a hit for me, is that they didn't do any like goofy stuff. Like,
Yeah.
Sometimes like they, for a while, they had like almost like the announcer up in the booth, like almost like a DJ or something. And like, it's all these little added things. And I understand they're just trying to make it different and trying to make it more fun and that, but it often slows the pace down and it's too much, or these extra, like, as much as I like watching some of the old, like the video packages they used to do with like about old movies and things like that, or like they theme it or something.
Yeah.
It just slows the pace down. And I thought this pace was really good. It just got, and all the categories were back, like
Yes.
live for the first time. And I thought it doesn't need much else. You have a little thing at the beginning with Kimmel and you get right into it. And I thought it was like, there wasn't a lot of extra kind of things to slow the pace down. And I enjoyed it as a whole. And I think it ended at like 11:30, which I thought, I've seen them go to like midnight. So
Yeah. It wasn't, they didn't go, they kept it. I mean, they didn't keep it to time, but it was pretty tight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I totally agree. I mean, you're there for the categories and some of the speeches and just the pageantry of the whole thing. Yeah. The goofy stuff. And really, I mean, they brought back all the song performances. So you have those segments in there, which breaks it up a bit, and the in memoriam, like those things all break it up. You're right, you don't need to stack it with a ton of video montages of
and like just weird things. Like I always thought that thing with where like the announcer, they'd show him and then like or her, and I just think it just it doesn't add anything to it, and I think it just slows down the pace. It's too much. But yeah, no, it was great. I thought the whole thing was like in general really good. So I just want to give that a little hit.
Yeah, I thought the pacing was great. I mean, for a 3.5 hour broadcast, I mean, I watched some of the best picture movies were almost the same length, and the pacing of those ones was not nearly as good as the pacing as the Oscars this year. So yeah, that was a good win.
Yeah.
All right. So do you want me to tell you a couple of my my disagreements with the awards here?
Yeah, I've got some misses as well. They're just nitpickers, but they're
I've got a couple here. So
okay.
A couple, we'll go some of the minor ones first. Production design this year went to All Quiet on the Western Front, which I understand. It makes sense. It's a war movie. They have to create this literally like a World War I environment, and it was beautiful. I don't discredit any of that at all.
Yeah.
But I was really hoping, and this was not one of the best pictures, but it was Babylon. Did you see Babylon?
No, I didn't see it.
Okay. So it's essentially about Hollywood in the 1930s, I think. So it's like the peak of like debauchery and Hollywood craziness. And they created this old Hollywood world that was beautiful. Like it was just huge and massive and epic and like glittery, and it was like all the Hollywood that you kind of romanticize about,
Yeah.
And I just thought it was such a beautiful film to watch because there was just so much packed into this movie, and it really surprised me that it did not win production design. So I was like, I kind of wanted that one to win because it did not get good reviews. It didn't do well in the awards, but I really liked it. It was right up there at the top of my list this year, even though it wasn't a best picture. I really enjoyed that movie, so I was really hoping for more for that one. So that's one of them. Again, original score went to All Quiet on the Western Front, which had a really unique score, which I thought was pretty cool. But Babylon had like the coolest soundtrack of the year because it was all like big band, like like trumpets on stage, and
Oh yeah.
the music in Babylon was amazing. Like it was so catchy and it's so like energizing. I mean, and it just fit the theme. Like it fit the movie perfectly. To me, it was the best score of the year. And I don't know, it didn't go.
Do you have shares in Babylon, or are you?
No.
I've never seen anyone promote Babylon so much as
Also, I like saying the word Babylon.
Now, Babylon is a fun word to say. I will agree.
It is a fun word to say, yeah. So I will be talking a lot about Babylon. I was babbling on about Babylon.
Stop that. No.
Oh, all right.
Please stop saying Babylon.
I can't. Babylon.
Stop it.
Okay. Whew. Anyway, those are two.
Is there any other thing Babylon didn't win that you want to talk about?
Let's just take a look. I'm sure there is, but those are the two that I had the biggest problem with. I mean, they didn't win costume design either, but I was a little annoyed about that. But Black Panther, I can understand that. That's one costume design. So I won't be nitpicky with that one. But anyway, Babylon. Okay, I do have one more, but I'll let you go first. I'll let you go.
Okay.
What do you?
One of my misses was the Little Mermaid. I don't know why it was promoted during the Oscars, which I found kind of weird. And then it was like they kind of made it sound like it was going to be this like exclusive clip you've never seen, and the clip was only like 30 seconds.
Yeah, and it went right into the commercials. Like it was
a totally unnecessary part of the show, unless Disney paid them to have this in it. But I just thought it was just 100% unnecessary.
Well, and I said that my wife and I were watching together, and I said that to her at the time. I was like, "Is this the Super Bowl all of a sudden? Like, when is the Oscars ever like shown exclusive clips for upcoming movies? Like that didn't." You're right. Disney must have paid for that or something, because
weird.
That did not seem like the forum to promote somebody's new movie. Like this is about all the movies, like, and all the actors. It's not about one studio and one new movie coming up, especially since I'm sure that's not going to be the top movie of the year. I mean, maybe it will. I don't know. I haven't seen it
maybe
yet.
Now it will be. I don't know.
Maybe now. But yeah, you're right. That seemed really out of place, and it wasn't anything. Like they built it up like, and here's a special sneak peek of footage you've already seen.
Yeah, it'd be different if they came out and did it. It showed the quick clip and then came back and gave an award or something for animation or something. Like that would have been would have made more sense. But then I would have been, okay, I could see why they showed the clip, because that's an animated movie that's coming out next year. But it's not animated. It's not animated. Oh no, it's a live action. You're right.
Yes. Yeah. But still, they could have done like a live action short category or something.
I think because it was based on animation, it would have made more sense. But I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't really.
I don't know.
How many of these Disney movies have I actually seen? Like none of them. So I don't know. I saw Toy Story 3. I think it was like. Yes. I've never seen Toy Story 1 or 2.
That's awesome. Okay, so here's my other beef with the awards, and this might be controversial, so buckle up. Okay, so
Oscars watching.
Best Actress, the Best Actress award. Oh, the Oscars actually watching me. Best Actress award went to Michelle Yeoh. Yes. And she was fantastic. There's no question. Like she did a really good job. She really did. However, in my opinion,
is someone from Babylon? Like,
yes. No. In my opinion, Babylon should have won everything. No, I honestly thought that Cate Blanchett in Tar did a better job of acting. Like I really like it was. I thought that her character, like the movie itself was long and it wasn't one of my favorite movies, but I thought that I thought her acting was so good. Like, and she was just so mean. Like she was just such, like, I hated her character, but you're supposed to. Like you're supposed to hate her. And I did. And she was like, when she got what she deserved at the end, I was like, yes, because I don't like you. I really bought into her character and how she delivered that role. So I mean, I voted on my ballot. I voted for Michelle Yeoh because I thought she was going to win, and she did. But I actually thought that Cate Blanchett kind of edged her out a little bit in quality. That's just my opinion.
I Did not. I wasn't a fan of Tar at all.
Right.
Like I thought it was long. There was some different theories that kind of went along with it, which made it kind of more interesting after the fact.
Okay.
But so I read something that really kind of struck, like I kind of saw, because there was something I did that was bugging me about the movie, and someone kind of nailed it, and they said, even though Cate Blanchett's awesome in everything she does, that movie, it seemed like she was like acting. Like it felt like she was really putting on this character and really like just digging in on it, and like to the point where it felt like didn't feel sincere. And I thought that's an interesting take, because I kind of felt that when I was watching it. Like it felt like she was trying to get an Oscar, like in that, you know what I mean? Like it felt like she was acting as that character, like to me. But I mean, like she's like amazing in everything she does, and she was great in that movie too. There was just something off on it, and that when I read this article, I was like, that's I think what it was. I think it was just like, if you know what I mean, like she just seemed like she was really just like giving it all to, like, you know what I mean, for this role. And it was like,
and I can see that side of it too, because it was like she was like, it was like a powerhouse from from the first second of the film till the end. Like it was just sort of nonstop. Like it was, I could see that, but I don't know, for some reason her performance really struck a chord with me, and I was, I really, I don't, if she hadn't been over the top, kind of over the top the way she was, I don't think I would have enjoyed that movie like at all. Like,
she was that made the movie. I mean, if it wasn't for her, she wouldn't. So I'm not like trying to discredit, again, I'm not trying to discredit her performance, because it was good. I just, when I read that article, I was like, now I can, like, there was just something off about it. And that might've been what it was, but I don't know. It could have just been the movie itself, but
yes. Yeah.
I don't know. One of my misses is in this, and I don't know what it is, and it's like, I mean, you're still in television, but there is some of the close-ups in the side shots were weird. So when the person was accepting the award, instead of just being like a regular shot, they did these weird, like, I don't know if it was like on a dolly or I don't know what it was, but it was just an odd angled shot. Like it was just very oddly like framed, and I don't know why. I don't know what it was, but it was almost kind of on the side, but like I don't know. It was just they did it a few times, and it was just sort of like a production choice, I guess. But it was off putting, like the way they shot it, if that makes sense.
It does, and I don't know exactly which shots you were talking about, but I did notice one of the camera situations that really kind of bugged me was during Lady Gaga's performance, which was amazing, and the fact that she took all her makeup off, and it was the most stripped down performance, but the camera was pushing into her face, and it kept going and it kept going and it kept going, and I literally out loud to my wife was like, stop, and it was like to the point where her face, like her nose and eyes,
I know, it was very weird.
I'm like, okay, like we understand that she's not wearing makeup and that she's like doing the most raw performance, but we don't need to see up her nose. Like it was so close. I just thought it was uncomfortably close, and maybe that was the point. I don't know, but it was way too close.
What else did you got?
Well, those are sort of my big misses when it comes to the actual awards, but I do have another one. And if you're watching us on YouTube, I'm going to change my background here to show you what I'm talking about. But this was the most ridiculous thing I had ever seen, and I tell you, if I was in this situation, I would have like demanded my money back. All right, let me just change my background here so I can show you what I'm talking about. And I'm sure you're
I know exactly what you're
sure you're well aware of what I'm talking about, but give me a second here to find it, because you gotta actually see this thing to understand how ridiculous it was. But it has, okay, I know it's in here because I just had it up there a minute ago. Oh, here it is. Boop. All right, so
what is this? I don't know why I leaned over as well for that, but
why was this woman, and I don't know do you know who she is?
Someone, I think she was like an actual nominee of some sort. I don't know for something, but
yeah, she is somebody, and I apologize for not knowing her name, but for whatever reason, she decided to wear this massive like white cloud, even though she was seated in the audience. Like she was like right in the middle of the audience. And if you look at this image behind me, if you look at this image, at least 2 people behind her would not have seen a single second of the show, because this veil thing that she's wearing takes up like 2 seats. And if you look, the woman sitting beside her is actually seated sort of sideways, because I don't think she could probably sit flat.
And
in
she's
her
like
chair.
peeking along around the side of it. I know it's unfortunate because you get to go to the Oscars and then you got to sit behind that, and it's like it's just inconsiderate for other people. Even though the gown was probably gorgeous, but it's like you got to think of like the practicality of sitting in seats or whatever as well. Like how it's going to affect other people.
It did not make it. And the problem is, like, I think it totally backfired on her, because now she's become a meme. Like, I've seen so many posts about, you know, the being like a jerk about things and whatever, and showing her. But I mean, the thing is, she probably could have worn it like a beautiful gown or something to the show, and then put that on for the after parties. You know what I mean? Where you're just walking
or the red carpet part,
or the red carpet,
and then maybe it comes off or whatever.
Yeah. But knowing you're sitting in an audience, and like, this is like, I was just like, are you kidding? I would have been so upset if I had finally gotten to be in the audience. And I get
that's like being at something, someone has a giant sign they keep holding up the whole, you know what I mean?
Yes.
You have to look around
here.
it, like...
If I go to this side, you can see there's a guy sitting on her right who's literally like ducking to get out of the way of this like massive.
Yeah, there's just inconsiderate for other people, but I mean,
that's so big.
Regardless, I guess, whether it's like the bad press or good press, she's gotten on, like, she's all over the place. So I mean, it did its job if that was what her purpose. But yeah, that's wild.
She's got press. But
she definitely had press.
Yeah, that was an epic Oscar outfit fail. If you ask me. Yeah, that was a big one. What else?
I've got a pretty big. I've got a couple misses left, but I got one. And again, they're just kind of nitpicking, but they've got to do something with international film, and I don't know what it is. And we might have talked about this last year, but if you're nominated for international film and you're nominated for Best Picture, you're going to win international film.
Yes.
Like you have to by nature. You can't. There's no way you can't win it. Like, because otherwise, you're obviously a good enough film to be in Best Picture. And it's Best Picture, so it's an obvious choice. Like, if anyone has an Oscar pool and did not get that, all Quiet on the Western Front, then there's something wrong with you, because it was like it's so obvious.
Yeah,
I mean, it's good.
Well, I was gonna say, then you just feel bad for the other nominees in the international picture category, because there's 100% chance that they are not going to win, and they know.
I know, but I mean, I guess if you get nominated, it's still good to be. I mean, it gets recognition, right? You can say your movie's nominated or whatever, but it takes away the surprise of it, because it's like in those music awards where there's a performer backstage, like they just finished a performance, and then they do the category, and none of the other people are there, and they're the winner because they've been told you're the winner of this award. Or like the Billboard Awards, a good example, because it's charts, like and they put out the issue. And the issue tells you who won everything already. So you're going to win it. It's like, that's what I feel like with the international. Like, it's just so bizarre.
I know. And I mean, if it comes a day where the best international film is also nominated for Best Picture, and the international film doesn't win the international film, then something's really wrong.
Well, that doesn't make any sense then.
Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, I like having that there. I've seen some great films because of that category.
Yes.
I think it's just bizarre that they, like, once they've started, because a long time they didn't get into the Best Picture category very often, but now they've been, because with the 10 they've been getting in there, but it's so obvious, like, who's going to win that. So
yeah, it's true. I mean, I feel almost like, well, I mean, I guess you can't really make a rule like that, because there's lots of crossover. So, I mean, animated feature could have been nominated for Best Picture. I mean, I think in 1991, Beauty and the Beast, the Disney Beauty and the Beast, was nominated for Best Picture, even though it was an animated film. So there has been crossovers like that, but it seems to happen more in the international, because I think wasn't Parasite Best Picture and also Best International? I feel like it might have been.
That might have been one of the first ones that sort of did that, like, where
the crossover
was like,
Yeah. So yes, I agree. That's at least on your Oscar ballot, you're going to get 1 point.
Yeah, that's one. That's a surefire one right there.
Yes. What else? Yeah.
I've got one more. I've got a miss here, and I don't know if this is just a Canadian miss. I'm not sure. Actually, I have a hit for Canadian as well, but I got here's a miss for Canadian. There's kind of a hit and miss. The hit, Morgan Freeman and Margot Robbie, love them. The miss, I don't know what they were there for. I don't know what happened. Like they got cut off in our feed.
Yes, they did.
So I don't know what they were there. I don't know if they presented something. I don't know if they were like promoting something. I don't know if they just introduced like one of those like the clips of one of the 10 best pictures. I don't know what they did because they just totally got cut off on the Canadian feed.
You're right. I'd forgotten about that. But yeah, and I was enjoying listening to them, and their banter was great. And then all of a sudden, nothing. I'm like, they were introducing the commercial break? What was like, why did they come out? I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
but I think the Canadian breaks happen at the same time as the American breaks. It's just they're covered over by other commercials. So presumably that happened everywhere. Like they were just cut off.
Yeah, it was so bizarre. I'm like, and then I'm like, and then it went to commercial. And I'm like, what were they there for? I don't even know anything what they said or what they did. Like,
yeah, and that
so
was
bizarre.
That was a waste of two really talented people. Like that was a really interesting. Plus, I don't know about you, but I haven't seen Morgan Freeman in a long time.
Like that was the first time I'd seen him in a long time.
Yeah, he's doesn't have any hair now, and it was nice to see him again, and to hear him, and then nothing.
Yeah, I don't know what that was for. It was just I don't know if it was a mistake like on the Canadian side of the broadcast or the American, or I don't know what happened, but it was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. I don't know what they were there for. I don't know what they were promoting. I don't know what was going on. I don't
know. But I feel like the two of them should do more stuff together.
Yeah. Also, the thing I found funny is everybody's like, Margot Robbie has like an accent. Like you don't really see her in anything where like the kind of stuff I watch where that she's in, she never does. So there was so many people tweeting that they're like, what? And then someone's like, I guess I don't see her in a lot of interviews, I guess, because I didn't know that. So
well, I can't really think of a movie that she's been in that she uses her real voice.
Yeah.
I think every movie I've ever seen her in, she's had an American accent. So I don't think she really ever puts that out there. So it is funny to see when people do that. It was the same with not Margot Kidder. Keith Urban's wife. Oh my gosh, what's her name?
Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman, thank you. It's the same thing. Like you rarely see her in movies with an accent. But when she's speaking normally, she's got an Australian accent, and so it's interesting. I always find that interesting when you like hear somebody speak who has an accent naturally, and it just you're like, oh right,
like half the cast of Walking Dead too.
Yes,
it's like
yeah,
they all of them have accents, and I'm like, it's so bizarre. I can't get over it. So.
yeah, that was an interesting thing. Yeah, I thought that was good. So I have one more, and this is just sort of an overall thing. Do you have any more?
I have a couple. I can just I'll just bang them quick and then
I go through them because I just mine sort of as a rap thing. Go.
Okay, so I love the performance. I can't remember what the song was called. It was like the
oh yes, from RRR.
Yeah, that was that was a phenomenal performance. So cool to this point where I want to see the movie. I got to see this. Like they was just so high energy and so good.
Yeah,
kudos to them, man. That was that blew people away. Like it was crazy.
And those were the actors. Those were actors in the movie. Like those were the people who performed that song and dance in the movie.
Yeah, so that's awesome.
The cast. That's the first time I've ever been inspired to see a movie based on a song that was performed in the Oscars.
Yeah, it was so cool. It was like
as soon as it was over, I was looking up where it's streaming. Where's RRR streaming? I've got to watch this thing. Yeah, I love that. That was a huge highlight for me. I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, it was so cool. I was just like, oh man, I'm blown away. The other thing I just wanted to quickly mention is being Canadian, Sarah Polley winning the adapted screenplay. I thought was really cool for women talking. I thought it was just really neat because she probably went just to she got invited obviously because she was nominated, but she probably I'll just go and this is kind of fun. And then she won, which I thought was so cool. I thought that was so wild. So I thought that was it was just as a Canadian, it was kind of neat to see her to see her win and go up there and have a little bit of a political statement too. So it was like,
Yes,
which was
is
good.
great.
So
I thought that was great. Well, that's the other thing. Now that you've mentioned it, there weren't a lot of political speeches this year.
no,
Often people get up there and they take their 45 seconds to talk about world issues and that sort of thing. That didn't happen a whole lot this year. I mean, obviously there were like, shout outs to different things, but not overtly. Like there wasn't a lot of political input into
yeah,
this, which was okay. Like I thought that was okay. Like it kept it moving and it kept it sort of more on a personal level,
yeah.
with all the people accepting their awards and just being super happy and thankful and grateful and all of that. But it didn't get overly political, and it could have, because there's still the war in Ukraine and there's still women's issues and equality issues and things like that, but it didn't.
Like in the directing category, like Sarah Polley didn't get nominated for
Yes.
women talking as well, which
Yeah,
I thought
exactly.
actually she should have, because that's a hard thing to keep people's interest, that movie, because it's like it's basically people just sitting around talking for the bulk of it, right?
Literally, like in like there are like two set pieces or three, like it's virtually the same, and one of them is like the second floor of a barn. Like it's
Yeah, it's a
but to make it
I enjoyed that movie actually. I thought it
really
was really interesting. I was like actually kind of annoyed when it came out, not at the movie, but at the like what happened in the movie. Like I was emotionally like linked to it, and like I just was sort of like just thought about it a lot after I left it, which I thought was
Yes.
cool. And that's, I guess,
Absolutely. Yeah, and you're right. Like she should have been at least in the. I think that the directing, how they've increased the best picture category to 10.
Yeah,
I think that the best director category should be 10 as well. Like I think that
I agree.
that's a category they should open up so that they can let more people in. Like she absolutely should have been in there. Like Sarah Polley should have been nominated, because like we've said before, like even if you don't win, you are now known as Oscar nominee Sarah Polley. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, but so if they're opening the best pictures up to 10, why wouldn't they open the best directors up to 10 and allow more diversity and more variety of people to get in there and do that? That doesn't, I've never quite understood that. I think they should be doing it.
I wonder sometimes, you look at these categories and you wonder like did they, like, I know it's voted on, so they can't do this, but it's like you wonder, like, oh, I wonder if this person got this Oscar because they've never won one in their career or whatever it is. And I thought with Sarah Polley is like, I wonder if she won that because she wasn't nominated as a director. Like you kind of think these things in your head, but I mean, it's not like there's one person deciding who's winning these. Like, I mean, it's a voting process. So, but I thought,
but there is, I mean, we know that there is like political, like it's, if a studio has more money to do the, for your consideration and, who they talk to and who they influence and stuff like that, there is that going on in the background too. So it's, I mean, it's the game that they play and all of that. So, there is that, but you're right. I mean, I think in this case, I mean, her screenplay was amazing. Like, there's no question she deserved that award. But it may also have been, we couldn't give you a director, so we're gonna at least acknowledge that you did a good job.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's like, it's hard to say if that actually happens, but it kind of sometimes the way it plays out feels that way. Like we couldn't give you this, but we're going to give you this instead. So we know you're going to win this one, but you're like, I find that sometimes with the screenplay ones, especially if someone's written it and directed it. Like I find that's kind of a kiss of death if you win the screenplay. Like Tarantino wins the screenplay for this. Well, I don't know if he's going to win the best picture or director now because they've given him something, right? Like Spike Lee or whoever. But
everybody can only get one thing.
Yeah, one thing and only.
one toy per person. That's it.
So I've only got one more thing.
Okay.
And then do you want to go first or you want me to go first?
Okay, well, mine is just about the ballot and just about how I did terribly on the ballot this year. But yet I watched all 10 best pictures. Then I watched Babylon. Did I mention that I watched Babylon? I watched Babylon, yeah.
I heard you did, actually.
Yes, I did. I did watch that. And I even watched a couple of the animated shorts, and I threw those in there. And yet I still got 14 out of 23 on the ballot. It was one of my worst years ever. And I don't know how to pick movies on a ballot. I just, for whatever reason, I can watch every single movie and I will still do terribly. I think the best I've ever done is 18 out of 23. I think that's
do you do it because of emotion or do you do it because of what you actually think who's gonna
Well,
win?
see,
Does emotion play into it?
No, often what I'll do is I'll base it on other award shows, like the Screen Actors Guild, like the SAG Awards and the Directors Guild and the Producers Guild. I'll look at all those ones and see how things are doing, and then try to base it on that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not a good idea.
Yeah. The only ones you could base on those are if they won like a lot of them. Like let's say
Yes.
like Michelle Yeoh won like Best Actress at like pretty much every one of them. So I mean she's kind of a lock for this, but
Yeah.
it's the ones you're not 100 on. Like it could go any direction, but
Yeah. I just don't know. I don't know what the formula is. I am not good at picking. I'm good at picking the big ones. Like in my list here on my Vanity Fair thing, you can see the first column, which is all the big ones.
yeah, you rocked that one.
I totally, yeah, I got all the big ones, and then it just falls down after that. I got nothing.
Is it just me, or is it traditionally the Best Supporting Actress sometimes is like who knows? Like I feel like that's one of those
Yes.
categories that even if you think it's a lock, it never is. Like anything
Yes.
kind of goes on that. There's always a lot of like oddball winners on that.
Exactly. And that's why I think that Jamie Lee Curtis this year was so much more exciting, because she wasn't a lock. Like it
No.
could have been somebody else. Like it could have been where are the extras? It could have it was, everybody thought it was going to be Angela Bassett
Yes.
for Black Panther. That everybody was sure it was going to be her. And so like that's why that made it, her win, so much better, because you're right, that one's like a free-for-all.
Yeah, you just never know, right? Like it's
Yeah.
like it's so bizarre. So
Yeah.
the only thing I have left is I just want to give a hit to Everything Everywhere All at Once for a few different reasons. One, because it was kind of an underdog movie, but two, it's a movie that's not normally nominated by the Academy or even recognized, like sort of like science fiction-y movies, fantasy movies, superhero type movies. Not that it was a superhero movie, but like those types of movies that are, a lot of like special effects and that normally don't get a lot or don't get nominated, especially in those heavy categories.
Yep.
So it was awesome to see that movie do as well as it did. And not because I'm not talking just because of the movie, just because of the genre of movie it was. It was interesting to see that this year. There was and also with that movie as well, it was interesting to see a movie that got released in January of last year still have the momentum all the way to Oscars, which not a lot of times those movies are forgotten about by the time Oscars comes, because a lot of times it's all the ones that were at the festivals in the last part of the year and that we haven't seen yet, but they're nominated. Then all of a sudden they all start coming out. That movie was interesting because it did come out so early in the year and it did get nominated. And I thought that was really cool. Like that, it broke a lot of barriers for me in that way. Like, and not only just the diversity sort of issue as well, but it just like that. It's interesting that they recognize something from so far back, which I thought was awesome because they are often forgotten about, but they did a great job. Whoever promoted it, and I know it was A24, but it was whoever was able to keep that momentum going, I thought was awesome.
It's true. And often studios will put their lesser movies at the start of the year because of that. So they'll release movies that are still good movies, but they're not necessarily considering them for awards. They'll
I
put
call
them
burning them off. Like they burn those ones off, right? Like,
so it almost makes me wonder whether A24 thought this is a great movie, but we're not getting an Oscar for it. Like it's not going to be up for contention during the award season. So let's start the year with it. You know what I mean? Because you're right. They always put the big blockbuster or award worthy movies closer to the end of the year, so the voters remember them. So It makes me wonder whether the studio really thought that this was going to do as well as it did. Because to have them, I don't like, it's so rare. You're right, to have a movie.
I read somewhere that they instead of releasing it at the major ones they normally get released at, they released it at it was South by Southwest or whatever that. And so because they knew younger people would see it, and they knew there's a lot of people that do blogs, and they knew it and that got the momentum going and people talking about it, which in turn we heard about it and then we went and saw it, and then you know what I mean, that kind of, it just had a straight momentum from the get-go. But I thought during the summer and that it's going to lose momentum, and it never did. It just kept going, and it just kept getting recognized.
I didn't even realize until you just mentioned now that came out in January. In my head, it came out, at the end of the year, just because we haven't stopped talking about it. It's been a full year, over a year of talking about this movie that just won. It's so rare, but I didn't even realize it had come out that long ago.
Yeah, it was just crazy. It's like, because I remember my son and I watched it. We're like, oh my God, that's like the best movie we've seen in a long time. Yeah. And it's like, oh, they'll forget about it by the time Oscars comes, but it just didn't. It was just so good.
Did. Yeah, so those actors have been riding this wave for a very long time.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard for them to come down off of that now that this is all done, because it's been a long ride for them.
Yeah, they're probably tired of it by this point. So that was awesome.
Seriously, let's just move on. Well, that explains why Michelle Yeoh and Ke Quan Quay are already in this Disney Plus movie, because in my head I was thinking, when did they shoot this thing? Like Everything Everywhere All at Once just came out. When did they have time to shoot an entire series? Well, I guess they've had an entire year
to do stuff. Yeah, it's awesome. That was good. So generally, I thought the Oscars this year was fun. It was fast paced. Nothing crazy happened. It was like, I thought everything was good, and it was one of the better ones.
And we need to give a little shout out to the crisis team that they had built for any eventuality that might happen, any random slaps that might happen. They had the crisis team standing in the wings. I was kind of hoping to see what would happen if that, what does the crisis team do? Do they come out with fire hoses to shoot the people off the stage? I don't know. I have no idea, but it was kind of interesting.
I don't know. I mean, nothing like that's ever happened in the past. So all of a sudden, I mean, there's been some weird things here and there, but nothing like that. Like no violence has ever taken place on the stage of the Oscars. So that was like a kind of a new thing that I don't think anyone was ready for. So, but no, I'm glad I thought it was fun. Yeah, no, for sure. I thought it was fun. I thought it was a fun show, and I enjoyed it, and it was like one of the better ones. Yeah. But so, anyways, thank you everybody for watching our Oscar Spectacular 4, our 4th annual. We'll get to 5 next year. We'll see how it goes, and it was awesome. So I would like to thank everybody for watching. Visit our socials, and as I usually do, like and subscribe. We never say that.
No, we do, but people should. People should
like and subscribe. If you haven't liked and subscribed, just do it right now. Why aren't you doing it? Just like
why aren't you doing it? If you haven't already done it, you should do it. You should
do it. Just go down. Come on, just hit that like, just a subscribe. Just do it. So anyway, we're like, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just like, I know you're supposed to do it. I don't know. It's like whatever. But just like and subscribe. It's always good. And tell your friends. That's all we ask. That's all.
And don't forget to watch Babylon.
No, stop it. No. That's it. This is Loop and Larry, Guardians of Geek. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Produced by Matthew C. Loop and Lawrence Simner. A Loop and Larry production.
Bueller.
He likes it. Hey, Mikey.
Bueller.
Bad news. Fog is getting thicker.
And Leon's getting larger.
Inconceivable.
Brian's right. It's an elf.
Wax on.
Does Barry Manilow know that you raid his wardrobe?
Oh, Captain, my captain.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Wax off.